And welcome back to Janky AF and Year of the Aerostar, episode number 20. Big milestone there. And as you can see, I'm wearing my camouflage outfit. And that is because of course I always try to match in some way thematically my outfit to the car that we're going to be talking about. And in this case, hidden in the woods, we have a beautiful, gorgeous, stunning, fashionable 1990 Ford Aerostar van XLT, listed in Blacksburg, Virginia for only $600. And you see it here first, folks. It is in stock. So if it's up, it's available. And I do think that is it available question. Now I've done that and I will cop to that. I've asked it, is it available before? I've learned my lesson and I will never do it again. And for all you folks out there just starting to navigate the classified ads, cut to the chase. If it's not available, you'll find out soon enough. So operate under the assumption that it is. So, condition, used, fair. This is in fair condition. And, I guess that's accurate, all things considered. We have a 1990 Ford Aerostar van XLT, 3.0 engine right here. This is wonderful, wonderful piece of classifieds, linguistical grammar, nerding out that I love to do so much. It's the 3.0 liter engine, so it has a displacement of 3.0 liters. But people always say the 3.0, the 4.0, the 4.6, the 5.2, the 7.5. But for some reason, no one says the 3.0. They always say the 3.0 or the 3.0. So here they have actually written out 3.0, which I don't know if they did on purpose, but it's kind of ingenious. And you can see it obviously differentiated from a 0 in the 1990. Good transmission. So right there, I mean, you're close to $600. 4 parts only, must take whole thing, not parting out. And this is one thing that I absolutely love about this posting, because whether it's out of a respect and dignity towards the Aerostar, or more likely just because they don't want to deal with selling individual parts and picking them and yada 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 and having a million people call them, they're selling it as a whole vehicle, which either way is a good thing for this Aerostar, because now maybe it will get parted out, but I hope not, because it's a rather striking example. We've seen a couple of these now, and I'm starting to think they're not quite as rare as I might have thought initially, but it has this beautiful sort of golden bronze color on your top and your bottom, and in the middle we have what I'm calling sort of the sand dollar, beige taupe sort of thing going on. I guess this top color is actually more closer to a taupe, but a beautiful two-tone combination nonetheless. And these were two tones, but there are two tones, but there's 3 different sections of color. So in a way, they're a tritone, even though from a literal sense that doesn't quite make sense. A wonderful, wonderful color combination, and it is obviously an extended version here. So much to say about these pictures. The first thing that just jumps out at me is this bumper. Now, this bumper does look like it's more of a beige bumper. It's not your, just gray standard plastic bumper, and it has this little gray insert in there. But again, 3 sort of color panels here, even though 2 are matching. So you get this sort of, the theme of 3s here, but it's close to the body color, which I think is very nice. I think it works very well. I think it looks better than if they were just plain gray, and you have all this variation of color going on. It's very pretty. So that's kind of rare right there. I mean, the bumpers are alone. I looked up a nationwide parts search, because I'm always doing this for parts for my various vehicles, and I found one listing for a rear bumper cover for a Ford Aerostar. And that didn't even say whether it was standard or regular length. So if you're trying to find a particular one, because they're two different sizes, one of the only things that's different on the regular and extended length Aerostars, the bumper cover, the rear bumper cover specifically. Don't know if the front one's on there. Now, unfortunately, this is a single picture listing, and you can kind of see why, because anyone who's interested in this probably isn't going to want to necessarily see it from every single angle, but I would like to see it. Obviously we see some front panel, quarter panel damage here. I'm curious to know if the front bumper is intact. I want to see more of the wheel situation. Now, this is very strange because there's, amongst this bramble that this is covered by, you have some windows here, and it almost looks like an Aerostar door. It's a very similar profile to the Aerostar door there, especially when you factor in that this is a separate piece right here. Obviously it's not as triangulated, but I think it's just a regular window. But the fact that's so similar, and if it is a door, it's chopped off right here because it's only the front section of it. So I'm sure that it's not. I mean, I can kind of tell that it's not, but the fact that it kind of closely resembles it and it's sitting in front of the vehicle is just, very, very curious sort of thing right there, and the mental connections we make in our heads. Seems like somewhat of a compound here down in Virginia. And, but, a really nice example. Now, boy, what would it take to get this thing back on the road? Again, we don't know. We don't know what condition the tires or wheels are in. We don't know when it last ran. It says the transmission's good, so that would mean presumably the engine isn't good. Now, you could go the route of some people. That one Aerostar we did and put a 2.9 Jasper in there. Or you could, so basically Aerostars and all cars in general, but for our purposes, Aerostars come in three sort of levels of quality, let's say. You have your impeccably preserved, relatively low mileage examples. We just did a green one a couple times ago, number 17 or 18, I believe. That was a 93 with a manual transmission, dark green color, under 100,000 miles, and just like the interior, immaculate, everything. It's, basically a museum piece. Famously, there's one for sale for, I think, 12 or 13,000. That's an 86, the first year of the Aerostar, sort of dark on light gray color combination. I have to do that one before it gets sold, because there's a story on that one that I witnessed it on Craigslist or Marketplace and then saw it later at a reseller for basically double the price. Not to throw shade at anybody for trying to make money on cars, blah, blah, blah. But then you have your sort of mid-range Aerostars, which are drivable examples, perfectly functional, but they've, they have their flaws aesthetically or otherwise. A lot of these cars were road hard and put away wet, to use a phrase, and that's a tribute to them. Now that they were not taken care of, like so many other cars, they were just purpose-built machines in the eyes of many, So they're fine, they're running, but a lot of them have high mileage, which again is a testament to the Aerostar itself. You see plenty of Aerostars that have clicked over 200,000 miles and are still on the road. The majority of them, in fact, nowadays, because they're getting up there in years. And so that's your, anywhere from 1,200 maybe at the bottom to 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, and they're starting to go up now, especially for the all-wheel drive models, especially out west as the van craze takes over and as prices rise generally, as people look for alternatives to the Chevy Astro van, which is sort of like the belle of the ball right now in terms of smaller vans, and the Ford Transit, I would say also. So that's your middle range, and then you have this range, the Janky Super Janky Deluxe range, and that's usually sub $1,000, and they're usually parts cars or sort of haven't run in years. Either one of your major components, engine or transmission, is bad or caked with rust or something like that. But I think if you're going to do sort of a very funky Aerostar project, now there's somebody that actually chopped the roof off of an Aerostar, and I know there's these sort of open roof specific sort of cross-country race or travel competitions that people do. I'm very curious about that, but they've done a beautiful, beautiful job with it. And arguably you could say you should actually start with a nicer example with that too, because people say when they convert cars to EVs, you actually don't want a total junker, because you're going to have to completely rebuild the car and refurbish it mechanically just to know if it's a good candidate for conversion. So I'm kind of eating my own words here, but if you wanted to do something, say like a crazy diesel swap, manual transmission Aerostar or something, well, maybe you do want to start with something like this, because you're getting it for bottom of the barrel price, and you're going to put a lot of money into it anyways. Why not save on the initial buy-in? Your body is relatively straight, couple dings and dents here, but if it's a utility vehicle and not like a showpiece, it's a very good candidate here. And diesel swapping an Aerostar is something I would love to do one day, and I'm very curious about it. It has been done. Maybe I'll do a whole nother video on that. The Aerostar was initially going to be offered as a diesel, and I wish it was, because those things would be like, you know, hot potatoes right now. I really wish they made it as a diesel, because to have it factory engineered as a diesel and not have to do a conversion on it, and I'm very interested in cars powered by veggie oil, waste vegetable oil, so to not have to, excuse me, I'm just crackling up at the thought of how beautiful that would be, and how sad I am that they didn't make a diesel Aerostar. To have to sort of re-engineer all your systems, get everything to play with each other in terms of getting your interior lights and gauges and all that stuff to work. Far easier if it came that way from the factory. But neither here nor there. So a car like this would be kind of a great example as just, you know, almost less than a blank canvas from which to start with, where maybe you want to put, you know, a big thing with the Aerostar nowadays is the brakes were not, maybe didn't hold up well to the test of time of how much power they had for how big of a vehicle this is, especially when you're towing. So say you wanted to put some custom brakes in, and you're going to spend all that money, you know, fabricating custom pieces anyways. Well, then who cares if your brakes are any good on the car right now? You know, maybe you're going to run all new lines anyway. So if you're going to do a really, you know, start from the absolute bottom custom project on something, well, this is a fine place to start because it's so cheap. That's where I think the value in this sort of third tier price-wise of Aerostar lies. I wish we had more pictures of it, but I love that they're selling the whole thing as is. And, you know, just the fact that you're getting the bumper cover alone gives you a head start. Now, it looks like the taillight is missing there. But a great, great color combination. I've been getting a ton of great comments recently. I really appreciate it. People educating me on the Aerostar in terms of engine combinations and things like that. So I really, really appreciate that. Janky, thank you to all the people who have commented. And I suppose that we'll leave it there. Just sort of a quick hitter, maybe not. I don't know how long this went. I tend to, you know, get yapping when I'm talking about the Aerostar. But a beautiful 1990 Ford Aerostar van XLT. Janky, thanky, as always, for watching, and we'll see you for the next one.
One small step